Hey everybody, Bart the Nature Guy here. Today's Nature Invitation is about warmth. It's a beautiful January day. I don't even have a stocking cap on, and it is great weather to be outside. And so with my camping classes kind of focusing on backpacking stoves, and that's bringing warmth, I thought I'd kind of go with warmth today in regards to being outside. Number one, if you have an opportunity just to even take a walk. Like I'm on a trail in the Theodore Wirth Park area, and you can see this is rock solid. I mean, you don't need a special set of boots to get out here right now, especially in metro areas where there's lots of walkers. After a few days, even after a storm or whatnot comes in, there's enough walkers that are kind of diehards out there that it doesn't take much time for the trail to kind of get beat down a little bit, especially if somebody walks through on a set of snowshoes. It will really help out a lot. And so a small set of boots with some really good socks is a huge help. Obviously having some gear that I've kind of talked about in the last couple videos. Don't have to get into that much, but making sure that you have some good gear. But I'm not even wearing gloves, and it's mid-January. It's awesome. I'm gonna get some cross-country skiing in a little bit later today while I'm here in the Theodore Wirth Park area. And there's just miles and miles of trails that you really don't need any special equipment. And they're all ready to go for you. So, and you can just show up. There's like a board with maps on it, and it shows you all that. Just take a photo of it with your phone and keep track as you go. And you can also use your phone as far as like the Google Maps goes. Oftentimes they have the walking paths built in. So just take a look at your phones, see what you have as far as the application and what it provides you. And if you really get into walking, there's lots of apps that have all the trails on them, both hiking, walking, cross-country skiing, and also tracking your distance if that's something you want to do, or just track where you are. So I'm in this little beautiful stretch of river here, coming into the Theodore Wirth Park area on the north side of the park. There's ducks landing all over, and it's all about warmth. I mean, that water's warm. That's why the ducks are finding and still staying here, even, is because it's warm enough that there's some open water. And for mallards and usually Canada geese, if there's open water, you'll still see them around throughout the wintertime. So they are still here. You'll hear them as we kind of get into our nature invitation. They're talking and quacking with each other quite a bit. And so, sorry, my phone just slipped out of my hand, so I caught it. That was nice. And today's gonna be about warmth. And I have this big puffy vest on right now. Those ducks have great feathers, down feathers underneath that protect them from that cold water. Their bodies don't get that wet. And even like muskrats that live in the water, they're like little, people oftentimes think they're like baby beavers. And they're not. They're just, beavers have that big wide flat tail. A muskrat, you can always tell because it has an actual rat tail. So, and they're called a muskrat because the muskiness, they have a pretty distinct smell to them. And so that's where the muskrat term comes from. And they actually live in the water, and you can see them like eating on the edge. A lot of times they'll even be washing their food a little bit before they eat it. They try to keep their food pretty clean. And one interesting thing about them, even though they live in the water, their skin actually doesn't get wet. Like their fur totally repels the water. So that when you see them and they look soaking wet and it's cold like this, because they'll still pop out every once in a while. In the summertime, they tend to live in banks along on those edges and kind of burrow in. In the wintertime, they tend to build little huts. So if you're ever walking along a marsh or see a marsh and you see this little dome out there, and it's not big, like a beaver hut is going to be much more than that, like 8 or 10 feet in diameter, and it's going to be 3 or 4 feet high. It's bigger. I'm talking like a hula hoop size, maybe a foot off the ground. That's generally going to be a muskrat hut, and they'll winter in those places as well. So keep your eyes peeled for those, and that makes them warm. It creates a little bit of a top, so especially in weather today, like it's cloudy, that's kind of Earth's blanket. That's why when it tends to be in wintertime, when you see gray skies, it tends to be a little bit warmer. When it gets icy cold, it's that blue sky because all the heat's just going up. It's just like there's no blanket. So I love seeing gray days, and I love seeing summer, like those bluebird days are awesome too. So but today's concept around warmth, so when you're looking at animals on maybe a walk that you're able to get outside, or just spending some time outside, like what keeps them warm? I'll walk over here, like animals have to feed themselves, even like birds have to feed themselves this time of year. And there's not a lot on the trees, but woodpeckers are, let's see if I can show you this. Woodpeckers are going to town. So they're always searching and keeping their bodies moving and busy. It also generates heat. So, you know, that concept of warmth today is where we're going to focus our energy. I'm going to go with an inhale and exhale to start kind of bringing myself to this place. The mallards are all starting to move down towards us actually a little bit. So we'll see. I got crows crowing. You can hear the crows? Well, let's just start with sound. We'll do that. So for today's nature invitation, the first sense that we'll engage is the sense of sound. So, and I'll turn the camera the other way. You can just spend a few minutes. All right. Lots of stuff going on, from the crows to the ducks that you can kind of see right in this area. I can hear them just doing a little chirp, 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 chirp as they're talking to each other and communicating. And then also there's like a dull roar of the highway. Being in the Theodore Wirth Park area, you can oftentimes hear the highways, and it's just kind of this dull constant that's there. So you can hear that quite a bit as well right now. I think next we'll engage our sense of smell. Just inhaling and exhaling through the nose, nice deep breaths. Also slows us down a little bit. See what you can smell. If you're outside in the wintertime, I often describe it as I can almost smell a crispness in the air. Here along this moving water, I can actually still smell just a slight bit of the marsh and that decaying, all the dead leaves that end up in the river still produce kind of a slight smell. It's not strong. Oh, the ducks are coming right to us. Right. The ducks are right there, working their way right to us. Like a parade. And since those ducks are right there, I'm going to just have you use our sense of sight and see what you can see. Yeah, a couple more ducks fly in. I don't know if it was caught on my camera or not, but beautiful little spot right here. Lots of activity happening, from the crows that are kind of behind me to all the ducks in this area, and there's blue jays calling from out in this area. You can hear them. They're all chattering it up between the ducks right now. Next is going to be the sense of touch. So right now I'm really enjoying feeling the air because it's not that cold. So I'm just going to be with the air for a little while. Maybe I'll just hold my hand up in the air and sense where that wind direction is coming from, what's happening around me. Maybe sense a little slight cold on my feet, on the bottoms of my feet as I'm standing in the snow. And that last one is that sense of taste. Drawing that air in over our tongue. Seeing if we have any sensation of taste in this cool, crisp air of winter. These crows are going crazy over there. It's awesome. So today I want you to think about those animals. Those crows stay here all winter. They stay warm. The muskrats build their homes throughout the marshes and stay warm. The woodpeckers find their way through the woods and continue to search up little things to eat throughout the through the wood and cutting through that bark and getting to the good stuff that they need to stay in nutrition throughout the winter time. So the ducks are finding their way. They're tipping over and eating what's left to see, kind of weeds in the pond or in the river there. So and they're all moving and staying really active during the winter. And I think we all can take a little lesson of although it's a time of being stationary and quiet and oftentimes a time of gathering, but with COVID it's a little bit different. So maybe this is that year that we um, make some choices to venture out a little bit and go solo at times, or walk with somebody that's kind of in our COVID pod, and enjoy something that we haven't done before. So whether it be snowshoeing, cross country skiing, just taking a walk into maybe a different cool new little area that you've never been before. So maybe it's driving 15 minutes out of our little bubbles and stepping out. This is one of the first times I'm kind of taking a walk in this area. And like I said, I'll be doing some cross country skiing on some trails I've never gone on today. Just stepping out. And so especially on days like today where there's, it's not that cold. And so the consequences are pretty low as far as like if you walk out too far, it's not like it's 10 or 15 below zero where it's going to be a struggle in regards to the cold and making sure you keep yourself warm. This is going to be pretty easy once you start getting a pace on for a walk to maintain some body heat and keep things going. So stay hydrated in the winter as well. So don't forget some water and take care, everybody. So warmth is the nature invitation. So whether it be looking for animals and seeing maybe what are ways that they keep themselves warm, how does the earth keep itself warm with moving water and clouds, and also for ourselves as we interact outdoors, how do we keep ourselves warm, and what are some things that we can do to warm up our insides here through these kind of months of winter. So take care, everybody. Bart the Nature Guy, peace out, see you later.